The word yoga, the actual Sanskrit word yoga, literally means to unite, to connect. Now, when most of us think about yoga or uniting in yoga, sadly we tend to think about things as simplistic as just uniting our nose to our knees or our hands to the floor. And this is where, as the questioner asked, things have gone awry abroad. Because you get people who can twist themselves into all sorts of positions, and they consider that yoga. It's good for the body, nothing wrong with that. The body is a temple, we only have one. It's our vehicle for awakening, our vehicle for consciousness. We have to take care of it. But that's not the end. The physical exercises are part of a path, not the end in and of themselves. They're what take us to the experience of yoga. The actual union that the word yoga means is a union of the self to the divine. Now that doesn't mean that it's a specific form of God. It doesn't mean that until and unless you have a religious experience, it's also not yoga. That divine, whether we worship God with name, without name, in form, without form, in a specific way, not in a specific way, doesn't matter. That connection is to the divine spirit. And that's the same spirit that runs through each of us. It's the same spirit that runs through all of creation. It's the same spirit that runs through the universe. So whether we talk about the spirit, the energy, the divine, God, the supreme, it doesn't matter. They're all just different words for the same experience. But ultimately, it's the connection of this physical being, this very temporary, very fallible physical being, with that which is eternal and infinite and supreme and perfect. So connecting to yoga is connecting to that which is infinite, that which is complete, that which is whole, that which is divine, in ourselves as well. Doesn't matter how fantastically you bend or how long you can stand on one leg. If you walk off the mat and you're denigrating yourself or others or any aspect of creation, if there's violence, if there's untruth in your life, it's not yoga. The 8 limbs of yoga that Patanjali gave us, which I won't go into tonight, but it's important to look at just the very foundation of them, because asana is limb 3. But the whole 8 limbs actually begin with the yamas and niaymas, and they take us all the way up to samadhi, that divine ecstasy, that bliss of true union. But the yamas and the niaymas are where we begin. There's 10 of them. We don't have time to go into all of them, but they're basically how you live. The do's and don'ts, the 10 commandments of a yogic life. And if we look only at the first 3, you've got ahimsa, non-violence, satya, truth, and asteya, which is non-stealing. If we go no further, and we simply say, that violence, in word, in deed, to yourself, all the negativity, all the nonsense that goes on in all of our brains, you're worthless, you're stupid, you can never do this, you're nothing, look at the person next to you, look how much better they are, look at the teacher, how much better they are. That's violence. It's violence to yourself. Violence to the earth. Through what we consume, how we live. Truthfulness. Well, anytime you tell yourself that you are this body, that you are your bank account, that you are your career, that you are your relationships, that you are the 10 pounds you gained that you wished you didn't gain, that you are a good haircut or a bad haircut or the pimple you wish you didn't have. Anytime you tell yourself that you are that, that's lack of truthfulness. You've just violated the most fundamental principle of yoga. And no amount of bending or stretching or standing on your head undoes that. Lack of stealing. Well, you look around our world, stealing doesn't just mean that, while your back is to me, I take your necklace or take your jacket or... How many of us steal people's time? Steal our own time. Gossiping, useless conversation, negativity, complaining. You're stealing someone's time. We steal resources from Mother Earth, from all of the humans and animals with whom we share it. Whether it's the water, whether it's the land, whether it's the food, the grain. So when we look at being a yogi, our path has to include, when I say path, I don't mean sequential. I don't mean that you take them sort of one per day. They can come in an instant, all of them together. But that our experience of yoga includes all 8 limbs, that we're looking at how we live, so we're not beginning with asana, but we're also not ending with asana. We're understanding that yoga, until and unless we've had that experience of absolute union, that joy, that bliss, that peace, that experience of being one. Again, whether we say with the divine, with the universe, with God, with the spirit, it's just a semantic difference. That's where we're going. And as we practice our yoga, to remember that. Because every aspect of the 8 limbs, whether you make non-violence your yoga, whether you make asana your yoga, whether you make pranayama your yoga, whether you make swadhyaya your yoga, self-study, choose any of them. You actually can get there through any of them, as long as you're aware of where you're going. So the asana, when we're doing the asana, recognize 2 things. Recognize that A, this asana is helping me take care of this temple of my body, helping me use this physical being, this vehicle for awakening that I've been given, this vehicle for consciousness. And 2, recognize that through this, as a medium, I actually can experience that full yogic union. There's no rule that says it has to happen in lotus pose and it can't happen in triangle pose, or it has to happen with your eyes closed and it can't happen with your eyes open. It's all about what's happening inside. So if you make yourself aware of both of those, then not only does the body become vibrant and healthy and flexible, but we actually take ourselves to yoga.